Dallas County detectives are investigating the death of a mother and her little boy. Seagoville police found Lyric Backus and her 7-year-old son Deuce dead in the garage last week. Home surveillance cameras captured the chaos. Deuce was a first grader in Seagoville. Backus was a social media influencer. She had a clothing boutique and tens of thousands of followers. Family believes the pair died from carbon monoxide poisoning. Police are waiting on autopsies before confirming.
June 3rd, 2024. A quiet Monday morning in Seagoville, Texas. A young mother doesn't show up for work. Calls to her phone go unanswered. Friends begin to worry. Hours later, police officers head to a small house on High Point Drive for a routine welfare check. At first, it seems like just another call, but what they discover behind a sealed garage door is anything but routine. Inside a car, parked in the dark garage, they find 27-year-old Lyric Backus and her 7-year-old son, Deuce. Both were unconscious. Both had already passed away. The car engine was still running. The garage door was shut tight. Carbon monoxide filled the air, leaving no chance for survival. There were no signs of violence, no note left behind, no known struggles, just silence. So what really happened in that garage? Was it a tragic accident or something much darker? This is the story of Lyric and her son, Deuce, a mother and child whose lives ended together in a place that should have been safe, and the questions that still remain. But before we begin, don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more true crime stories. Who was Lyric Backus? Lyric was born in 1996 and grew up in Texas. She was family-oriented, loyal, smart, and had a sharp sense of humor with a loving heart. By her early 20s, Lyric had become a full-time mom. She gave birth to her son, Deuce, around the age of 20. Friends say motherhood completely changed her. Deuce was her entire world. She rarely went anywhere without him, whether it was a trip to the store, an afternoon at the park, or visiting a friend's house. Deuce was always right there by her side. Lyric worked several jobs: waitressing, retail, side gigs, anything she could do to provide for her son and give him a better life. She often talked about her dreams, going back to school, maybe even starting her own business. But everything she did, every plan she made, always came back to one thing: giving Deuce the best future she could. Those who knew Lyric often described her as strong, even tough, but never closed off. She had been through a few difficult relationships, but she never lost her sense of purpose. She kept her online circle small, trusting only a few. But one thing was clear: she never gave up. Not on life, and certainly not on her son. On Sunday, June 2nd, 2024, Lyric spent the day like many others, at home with Deuce. Neighbors later recalled seeing them outside in the early evening. Nothing unusual, no arguments, no disturbances. Just a normal, quiet evening. Later that night, at 9:45 p.m., Lyric sent a short text to a close friend. Just 4 words: home safe. Talk tomorrow. It was the last message she would ever send. By the next morning, everything changed. Lyric didn't show up for work. Her boss tried calling, but there was no answer. By noon, her phone went straight to voicemail. Concerned, a coworker requested a welfare check. At 12:22 p.m., police officers arrived at her home. No one came to the door. The mailbox was full. The garage door was shut tightly. After repeated knocks and warnings, officers forced their way in. What they found was devastating. Inside the garage, the car was still running. Lyric sat in the driver's seat. Deuce was in the back, both unresponsive. Paramedics rushed in, but it was already too late. Carbon monoxide had filled the closed garage, silently poisoning them both. Carbon monoxide is often called the silent killer. It's colorless, odorless, and completely invisible. Once inhaled, it replaces oxygen in the bloodstream, leading to confusion, unconsciousness, and then death. Most victims never even realize what's happening. They simply drift off to sleep. That's likely what happened to Lyric and Deuce. Trapped in that enclosed space, they may have just slipped into unconsciousness and never woke up. Police later confirmed there was no sign of foul play, no forced entry, nothing to suggest that anyone else had been involved. There was no evidence of a struggle. Investigators came to a quick conclusion: this was a tragic accident. The case was officially closed within 2 weeks. The truth is, running a car in a closed garage can be deadly within minutes. Carbon monoxide builds up fast, and without ventilation, it silently suffocates anyone inside. A basic carbon monoxide detector, something that costs less than $20, could have made all the difference. But Lyric's home reportedly didn't have one. Police launched a full investigation anyway. They searched every corner of her home. No signs of forced entry, no drugs, no alcohol, no notes, no weapons, nothing that suggested foul play. They also inspected the car. There were no mechanical problems. No reason the vehicle should have been left running overnight. Inside the car, police found Lyric's phone. It was dead and showed no activity after 9:45 p.m., the time of her last text. From there, investigators turned to her digital footprint, her messages, her social media, even her browsing history. But nothing pointed to suicide. She hadn't searched for anything related to carbon monoxide, and there were no goodbye messages. In fact, her texts from that day were lighthearted, even playful. At a press conference, the police chief confirmed, "At this time, we have no evidence of foul play. All signs indicate this was a tragic accident, but not everyone agreed." Online speculation grew quickly. Some suggested it could have been suicide, but that didn't match Lyric's life at all. She had no history of mental illness, no signs of depression, no hints of despair shared with family or friends. Others feared something darker. What if it was murder staged to look like an accident? There was no sign of a break-in, but what if someone had a key? Friends recalled that Lyric had seemed anxious in the days before her death. She had mentioned drama, but never explained what it was. Even more chilling, just days before she died, Lyric posted a cryptic message on Facebook. "Protect your peace. Trust no one." That was one of Lyric's last Facebook posts. But was it just a random life quote, or something personal? Something she really meant? Naturally, the spotlight soon turned to the father of her son, Deuce. Lyric rarely spoke about him in public, but friends said their relationship had been strained. There were arguments, long silences, and even legal disputes over child support. Police questioned him right away. He had an alibi, and according to reports, he showed genuine emotion when told the devastating news. Still, those who knew Lyric remembered the tension between them. Was there jealousy? Resentment? Could that have played a role? Investigators didn't think so. They found no evidence linking him to Lyric's death, and he was never considered a suspect. Still, people couldn't help but wonder. After separating from Deuce's father, Lyric had dated other men. Some relationships were casual, others more serious. One man had a criminal record. Another, friends claimed, was controlling. Police looked into every name. One man was questioned but cleared. Another was confirmed to be out of state at the time. There were no threatening messages, no domestic violence reports, no restraining orders. Yet friends remained uneasy. One of them even remembered Lyric saying something chilling not long before her death. "If anything happens to me, ask questions." No one knows if she meant it as a serious warning or just in passing. But now those words linger. Seagoville is not a city known for shocking headlines. But when news spread about the death of Lyric and her son Deuce, the community felt it deeply. A candlelight vigil was held outside their home. Dozens of people came. Some knew them personally, others didn't. Balloons, flowers, and children's toys filled the front yard, covering the garage where their lives were lost. Local churches hosted fundraisers to support Lyric's family. The family released a short statement thanking the public for their love and support. But one thing was clear: there was no closure. The police called it an accident, but the whispers around town said something else. That doesn't make sense. And yet, within just 2 weeks, Seagoville police officially closed the case. The official cause of death: accidental carbon monoxide poisoning. No evidence of foul play, no charges, no further investigation. Just a mother and her child gone in silence, and a community left with heartbreak and doubt. Every year, more than 400 people in the U.S. die from carbon monoxide poisoning. Most never realize it's happening. Running a car for just a few minutes in a closed garage is deadly. A simple carbon monoxide detector, something that costs less than $20, can save lives. Everyone should have one in their home, especially near an attached garage. Lyrics didn't, and maybe, just maybe, that small device could have changed everything. We'll never know. Lyric Backus, only 27 years old, a daughter, a friend, a fighter. Deuce, just 7, bright-eyed, full of energy. He loved animals and he loved his mom more than anything. They had plans, dreams, a future. Now all that's left is tragedy and unanswered questions. Was it really an accident? Could someone else have been involved? Or is it something we'll never fully understand? What we do know is this: 2 lives were lost, and they deserve to be remembered. If this story moved you, share it. Let their voices be heard. And if you want to see more true stories like this, raw, real, and unfiltered, subscribe, leave a comment, and join the conversation. Together, we remember. Together, we ask the questions that matter.